Hello, fellow Rebels and FOSS enthusiasts. Welcome to Rebel Toolbox contributors event. We have Marcel
Hello.
and I am Daniela. Welcome to our spring edition to give you an update on everything that happened on Rebel Toolbox, Rebel Engine, and all the underlying pieces that allow you to make your own games at home with a free and open source technology tool. Would you like to start today, Marcel?
I think today we should focus on other languages. So not just English, but Rebel engine and the Rebel editor and the documentation shouldn't just be in English. There should be two aspects to that. One is some languages have
I
a
think,
different font.
sorry, I think we have just lost you for a moment there. And if you just restart, I know we're not in very long yet, but if you could restart, please.
I think if today we look at different languages, so Rebel engine, the Rebel toolbox, the Rebel editor, as well as the Rebel documentation, are not just available in English. We also have a number of other languages that people have created translations for. So from the community, we get translations from the English text and documentation and into other languages. Now, there's two aspects to that. One is the translations, as we've spoken about, and the second is fonts, because not all languages use the Roman letters and the Roman fonts. So we need different fonts installed as well. So we have a number of fonts already installed that support the common languages. But one of the key ones that we've noticed is that one of the main translation contributors has been contributing the Tamil language to the Rebel Engine API. And this person has translated pretty much everything. It's currently says 99%. There's one or two things that are still need to be done, but basically has translated the entire Rebel Engine API documentation into Tamil, which also has a different font. There's a Tamil font associated with it. So we want to incorporate the Tamil documentation as well as the Tamil fonts. So the first thing we have to do is add the different fonts available, and this includes the Tamil font that's available. On the translation front, at the moment, we're only accepting translations for the Rebel Engine API. We're not doing the Rebel documentation or the Rebel editor controls. And the reason for that is that the hosting provider that we use for the translations, Weblate, is kind enough to give us a Libra license. So we basically don't have to pay anything towards Weblate to host the translations for us. But there is a limit to how much they're prepared to host for us. And currently, with the Rebel Engine API, we've exceeded that limit. Now, the reason for that is that we have 200,000 lines that they're prepared to host for us, and the Rebel Engine API has 11,000. So we're obviously well within the range, but every language that we have counts for another 11,000. And currently, 39 languages have been started. So we have 11,000 multiplied by 39, and that gives us over 400,000 lines on the Weblate server, which is well in excess of 200,000 that we have available to us. So we need to look at a solution to this. One of the aspects, obviously, is to remove the translations that are just basically placeholders, so languages that have barely had any translation, if any, and also translations, and focus on the translations that have significant amount, including the Tamil one that we obviously spoke about earlier, but also languages that have had people contributing specifically to Rebel Engine. So not just translations that we've inherited, but translations that focus on the Rebel translations. But that does mean that there's a lot of translations that we need to remove. I'm hoping that it's removing it temporarily, just so that we can add the other components, the Rebel documentation and the Rebel editor strings and lines that we need to add to the translation. And then later on, we can add the languages back in. Also, if we need to and get sponsorship, we can obviously pay Weblate to host the additional lines for us by paying them. So we have a couple of things that I wanted to bring up today and maybe discuss on the call. What do you think, Daniela?
My thinking is quite simple, really. First of all, I agree with the approach that we should focus on the languages that currently have the most translations and keep as much as we possibly can, and do what's needed. But then later on, bring the languages back. So, in order to know exactly what you out there, what you need and want us to keep in the first round of those changes, tell us. So, we're going to keep English because that's the language we use. We're going definitely to have Tamil in there and all and the topmost languages. If you have a need to keep yours in the first run, tell us. Like literally tell us what you would like to see, which language is the one that you feel most comfortable in. We do need a steer from you out there so that we know what to focus on. And that means we need to give you some time to get in touch with us. So you have until the end of March, 31st of March, to get in touch with us and tell us why your language should be kept in the first round of changes. If you make a good case, talk to us. We'll get back to you and we can arrange something if possible. On the 1st of April, we then will go ahead and follow our plans of the languages that we think are the most important. And as Marcel rightly pointed out, we will try and get everything back as far as we have it right now. But we just can't for the next few weeks. Hopefully, it's going to be weeks more than months. But right now, we just have to take this step. And that also means that if you have experience of web late, get in touch. If you know how to get around this, get in touch. Help us along the journey. It will make it better for everyone. If you have any other opinions, get in touch anyway. We always would love to hear from you. But that is my suggestion to have a look at it, see what you think, see if your language is represented or not, and then get in touch with us if you think your language ought to be kept in the first round or if not. It does not necessarily mean that you must translate everything in your language before the 1st of April. No, but let's have the conversation on what is important to you and what is maybe less important right now and can be added on later on.
Exactly. And if you want to know where we are with translations and what translations we have already, you can also go to either to the Weblate site itself and look for the Rebel Engine project, or within GitHub under the translations folder on the Rebel Engine project. In the translations folder, we've got the documentation around the translations there, as well as links to Weblate and the Rebel Engine project on Weblate. So if you want to understand where we are, what's important, then please look at that as well.
Good. I don't have anything from my side this time round.
No, I think we've been making steady progress recently towards version 1. It's one of the final steps towards that, making sure that we have the right languages available to the users when we release version 1, and the ones that are most translations. There's always going to be languages that we need to exclude just from a sheer size point of view. So typically we look at, make sure that we only include languages that already have 50% of the lines translated. Doesn't mean that we don't keep translating the languages that aren't at 50% yet, but we will obviously only be able to include those that have significant contribution and therefore make sense, because otherwise we're just going to get English for most of the text anyway, so we may as well just use the English version. Aside from that, there's the final, I spoke about the semantic version last time, so that should be in place now, and also the final polishing effectively to get ready for the release of version 1.
Brilliant. Thank you for the update. What else?
Yeah.
Yes, sir?
No, no, I think it's the translations that are the key thing that we want feedback from today. So, I'd rather focus on that and make sure that people get back to us on the translations.
Yes, as you say, all of you out there, get in touch if you want to see your translation, and let's work together to make it the most useful tool out there.
Yeah, I mean, this is your tool as well. So we want to support as many people who are interested in it as possible.
Yes. Good. Get in touch. If not, we will go ahead starting in April with the translations. We will get back to you if you get in touch with us. So if you don't hear from us, follow up. But we do check our inboxes regularly. So get in touch. Tell us what you want from your tool, and we will make it happen.
Yeah, any of the social media as well as YouTube, you can comment below if you see YouTube, in our Patreon account, on GitHub, through WebRate as well. Any of those channels we will be monitoring and get back to you.
It's good. And with that, we will see you again the second week or second Tuesday in April.
Mhm.
And have a good month until then.
See you then.
See you then.
Bye.
Bye.